Hey everyone, welcome to Crazy Desert Knitting. I am Mel, the Crazy Desert Knitter. I want to welcome all of my new viewers to Crazy Desert Knitting and also my return Crazy Knitters. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am so glad you guys are here. Alright, all that stuff's out of the way. Grab yourselves your drinks, grab your knitting, come back and join me, and let's get started. I really don't have any admins this week except to say I still haven't gotten the group up and running. So sorry, my bad. Whoopsies. Okay, admin done. If anybody wants to get hold of me, just search Crazy Desert Knitter on Ravelry and go ahead and friend me. I would love to hear from you. You guys can also leave comments in the boxes and all that kind of fun jazz, and I will get back to you as soon as I see them. Which, let's be honest, is not that fast. Okay, because I'm so excited to show you guys my finished spider socks, we're going to start with off my needles first. So this week, I get to show you my not just one finished spider sock. I have two finished spider socks. Woohoo! Finished spider socks. Woohoo! Finished spider socks. Finished spider socks. Yes. And I think the second one worked just as beautifully as the first one. And JD's down here trying to play ball with me since, again, I'm shooting out or filming outside. So sorry if his head pops into the camera every once in a while. All right, so this is the spider. Ha! Now that's the front, and this is the twist that is on the back. And then we do a Kirchner stitch for the toe. I believe this is actually my second sock and not my first sock, but that's okay. On my second sock, I did two things differently than I did on my first sock. So they're not 100% identical. The ribbing at the top here, on my first one is definitely looser or as loose as the rest of my sock. Okay, so the ribbing on this sock is actually not quite the same as the ribbing on my first sock. My second sock, I have different gauges when I throw versus when I pick. So I went ahead and I threw the ribbing portion of the second sock just to kind of tighten it up a little bit. At least I was hoping I was going to tighten it up a little bit, and I think I succeeded. I have not actually put this sock on yet, number 2. I put sock number 1 on. I've not put sock number 2 on. So, but other than that, most things are the same. The heel, I think I pulled it a little bit tighter. It could just be the fact that I haven't put the sock on yet to figure out, this one seems to be a little bit looser than this one. And again, that could be from the fact that I haven't put the sock on yet. But this pattern by Terry Knight, this is Terry Knight's spider sock pattern, guys. Thumbs up. I know you guys have been hearing me talk about it for a couple of weeks now, but it's awesome. It's just really cool. And I love the yarn I did it out of. The orange speckled is Lollipop Acres fingering. Sorry guys, I don't have a color. But that's the orange. And the gray, because I wasn't sure how much yardage I was need. Turns out I had plenty of yarn, guys. I've got a third of a ball left over. I have plenty of yarn. But I didn't know how much it was going to take to do a sock, so I had no clue. I'm not a sock knitter by happenstance or anything. So I went ahead and I did the heel and the toe out of Kobasi, and I tried to get their Kobasi fingering. I'm pretty sure I made it. It's Kobasi sock. It's gray. It was great. It's got a very luxurious feel to it, and it matches the rest of the sock very, very well. I do have to say, trying to weave in Kobasi ends is not the easiest thing because the yarn itself comes unwound a little bit. So that's a little bit harder to deal with. But other than that, fantastic sock. And I mentioned this last episode, so episode 5. I got dog hair in here. The actual Terry Knight pattern calls to have these like little spiders that kind of come off of here, and they're made with baubles. Now, when I did the first bauble on the first sock, I was not a fan because it was like that thick. I mean, it was thick. I mean, it wasn't something I would want in my shoe. So I decided to not put it in my shoe. I guess that helps, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the height of it. It was too thick, it was too heavy. And this is something that I know my friend's gonna want to wear, or I hope she's gonna want to wear. So I didn't want her to have to put it in her shoe. And there we go. So I left those off. I actually ripped them out and I ripped back the bobble. I do have to say though, it was probably one of the best directions, like actual written out directions on how to make a bobble I've ever seen. So bravo for that. I did not find any issues with her top pattern, her spider pattern. I didn't find any issues with her twist patterns, nothing. The only thing I found slightly confusing was on her heel when it says like increasing the gusset or something like that. It says pick up the stitches, or loading the gusset. I'm sorry, it said loading the gusset. It said you had to pick up stitches. Well, pick up, okay, great, but how did I move my yarn? So it didn't say pick up and knit, it just said pick up. So I had to do a little bit of research, and apparently in sock world, which I didn't know this and nobody informed me of this, even though a couple of people I do know that do knit socks on a regular basis, when you load a gusset, it's, even if you say just pick up, it's always pick up and knit. I didn't know that, but now I do. So sweet, learned something new. That's the only thing I didn't know about. So cool. I don't know whose video I used for the Kirchner stitch, but I did notice that I don't get the little bat wings that they have, that most people get on their Kirchner stitches. My bat wings kind of stayed down, so that was really cool. That was really nice. Okay, I promise you guys will not have to hear me gush about my spider socks any longer. I'm actually going to be entering these in Squirrel Pie Productions sock cal that ends, I believe she said, at the end of February. And it's a pattern sock cal. And cal, K-A-L, I do know that. I will link you down below to one of her YouTube videos, or one of her episodes. I think she's really funny. She's really great. She does some beautiful knitting, guys. Some absolutely gorgeous projects. So I will link you guys down there. So I believe it ended yesterday, i.e. the 1st of February, or it ends at the end of February. I think she said the end of February. I gotta go look it up. But if it's the end of February, I'm gonna enter these because I think they're just cool. They're fun, they're weird, they're quirky. So it kind of fits my personality. Alright, so that was the first thing I finished for you guys this last week. On top of that, I needed a quick bridal shower gift. And not everybody is knit-worthy, let's be honest. Let's be honest, guys, not everybody's knit-worthy. So I decided to make my friend a few washcloths. And this is just one of them. I only brought in one. But it is garter stitch diagonal pattern. In theory, it's supposed to be 11 by 11. I did not check my gauge before I started these. Let's be honest, who checks their gauge for a washcloth, guys? Because I didn't. So this is actually about 11.5 by 11.5. Whoopsies. And it's made out of sugar and cream, or at least I'm pretty sure it's sugar and cream. It's just like your kitchen cottons. And it's knit on the diagonal. And I made the large, and it comes in the pattern was a small, medium, and large. And so I made the large because my mom always kept telling me that everyone that made for her was too small. And now I'm looking at this thing going, it's huge! I mean, this thing is huge! Look at this! But I did make her 3 of them, and you know, they're this color, there's a blue and white pattern, and then there's this color plus white, and then there's that blue and white pattern plus white. So she's got about 3 of them in total. So, okay. I'm done with all my finished objects for the moment. I'm going to go to on my needles next. I know I'm doing everything in backwards order today. It's like one of those days. I'm actually also filming at night, or I'm filming late afternoon. So it is February 1st today for me. And because I film it one evening before I actually release it, typically, it is February 1st, and I know we were having some problems with like the glare and the this and then that. So I'm like, let's try a little bit later in the day. So it's, you know, a little bit later in the day, and so we're not having the sun like everywhere. So I'm hoping this is going to work a little better for us. All right. Blah. Tangent rant. Woohoo! Okay, on my needles. I am so excited for you guys. I was kind of telling you about the project I was working on with my friend Sherry. And it is Knit Pearl Hunters. I told you guys it was building blocks with lace. It's just building with lace. Building with lace. Sorry, forget my paperclip that's in the way. But it's Building with Lace by Michelle Hunter. Now, I know you can go on Michelle Hunter's website and purchase this and get everything that's in here. This is actually a booklet that I went into my local knitting store and I bought it from my local knitting store. And the reason why I bought it from my local knitting store is that there's actually like a lot of great reference tips in here. And if you guys are anything like me, you don't always go and read all of your patterns all the way through. And I found that with me, I needed to read this one all the way through. If you guys are a beginning lace knitter, or you guys want to give it a shot, this is a good pattern to start with. It's huge, it's long, it's massive, it's ginormous. I will tell you that. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. There's 9 squares, so there's 9 different blocks, and you can see each one of the blocks. So each one of these here is representing of a different block. And I know my local knitting store is actually doing a class on this. Isabel's Parlor is doing a class on this particular pattern. She's doing it over 10 months. And the 10th month is actually the border. So you wind up doing a provisional cast on and lifelines and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, so I'm officially done with pattern number 1, and I'm actually getting ready to do pattern number 2. So I told Sherry, and Sherry is trying to keep me to this because you guys have all heard me say, I hate multiple whips at one time. I can't deal with them. Like, they just mind-boggling. I cannot deal with them. It's a little crazy. So she's like, but just think about each block as a finished product. And I'm like, okay, fine. So this last week, I had the pattern, I had the yarn, I had everything I needed. It does have some beads in it, just to let you guys know. You need about 628 beads, give or take some. But so I went out and I got it. I made sure I got my beads that matched my yarn and all that kind of fun jazz. Okay, so if you use the yarn that's actually in here, that the pattern calls for, it is Haiku Riley. And Haiku Riley, beautiful yarn. Oh my gosh, I've seen the project done and the exact yarn that it calls for. It's gorgeous. And this pattern calls for 5 skeins of it. And if you do the math out for 5 skeins, it's like 1,470 yards, thereabouts. So you need quite a bit of yarn. I mean, it's not a small quantity of yarn by any means. And Haiku Riley is not the cheapest yarn out in the block. And my local knitting store did not actually have the color that I really wanted. I really like either this like ivory white color or this like teeny taupey creamy nudie brown color. I guess I'm guessing it's more of a taupe based on the picture. And they didn't have either one of those in stock when I was actually picking out yarn. So I went and I picked out my own. I'm actually going to show you guys my project. I'm going to pull it out. Alright, so my yarn is actually this color. I didn't actually bring out a full ball of it for you guys to see, but so there's my yarn. And this is, I'm going to read it off. Sorry guys, I'm going to read this off. It's Alden by Taki Yarns. And it's color 02. It's oatmeal, guys. It's a creamy oatmeal color. It's kind of what it kind of turns out to be. I don't know if that's the actual name of it that they put on the website I bought it from. But it's oatmeal, let's be honest with you. And I love it. I love the color. I love the way it works. I did my math to make sure I wound up with about 1,500 yards. I didn't know how much we were supposed to have left over and all that kind of stuff. I know, be so proud of me. I'm even so proud of myself that this actual project, because she goes through in the beginning, and I know every pattern maker ever always says this, read your instructions all the way through. In this booklet, in the very beginning, she actually sits there and she goes through why you do a gauge and why gauge for this project is so important compared to other projects and things like that. If you know you have plenty of yarn, and I do mean beyond the 5 skeins that this pattern calls for, you may not want to do a gauge. If you want it to be about the same width and about the same length, do a gauge. Just saying. She did say in here, she's like, you know, if you're not on gauge, if your stitches are bigger or smaller, your piece is going to be there bigger or smaller, and you're going to use more or a lot less yarn. And I kind of wanted my piece, I didn't care about the using more or less yarn because I knew I had enough yarn. But I wanted it to measure approximately what the pattern said it was going to measure once it was blocked. I actually went through and did a gauge swatch. I don't think I've ever done a gauge swatch for anything but maybe this top. Maybe this is by Odell top, everybody, by the way. And I think this is my Odell top is probably the only top I've ever done gauge for. And I'm not sure my gauge was accurate. So great. But so far, this has actually turned out pretty gosh darn accurate. So I got a tip from Fruity Knitting. She's another podcaster. Sorry, my nose is really itching, guys. Fruity Knitting gave a tip. And anytime you're doing a gauge swatch, add 4 stitches on each end and 4 rows on top and bottom. That way, in a different pattern. So if you're supposed to do garter stitch for your gauge, do stockinette stitch on all 4 sides. So that way you know exactly what it is. And then in the center of everything is where you do your gauge swatch. So that way you have plenty to lay it down and count it out. You don't have to worry about it and all that kind of fun jazz. I thought that was a great tip, so I kind of used it on this one. So I did do a gauge swatch, and actually when I did the gauge swatch, I first got the yarn and I'm like, there's not a very good twist on this. I mean, it's not a very thin twist, and I'm pretty sure if you did thin twist, like if you actually really twisted this, it would go from a light DK from sport down to like a sock or a fingering weight. But I found out it's got a really beautiful drape in it, and I was kind of worried because it doesn't have the silk that the Haiku Riley's got in it, but it does have the wool and the alpaca that the Haiku Riley has, and it's got a little bit of acrylic in this as well. But it's got this really great drapey movability to it, and so I'm really glad I actually did the gauge swatch. Lo and behold, I'm glad I did a gauge swatch. Okay, enough about the gauge swatch. You guys actually want to see the actual project. So it is sitting on my lace tipped chiagu, however you guys want to say it, needles. Make sure I'm showing you guys the front. This is unblocked, obviously. This is my first block. I hope you guys can see that. I hope it comes out. It's just beautiful. And it's got this very beautiful lace pattern in it. The first pattern, you know, the book's supposed to bring you from level to level in your lace knitting, is I believe the thought process behind the book. So as you build each section or each block of your shawl, you increase your lace knowledge and how to read it and how to do it and all that kind of stuff. I actually found, I've read through from cover to cover the entire book, okay? And there wasn't anything in there that I didn't already think I knew, at least had a familiarity with, at least a little bit. Something that kind of stumped me is, and I cannot actually find it down here, so this could be why this is kind of hard for me to tell you guys, but in the bottom of my lace pattern somewhere, there is a block, possibly 2, Yeah, I can't find it. Where I'm pretty sure I missed a yarn over. And Michelle Hunter from Knit Pearl Hunter, who wrote this pattern, is really awesome. She actually has a ton of videos out there that when you do her patterns and there's a new technique or a new tip or whatever, she gives you a video for that. So all you gotta do is go out to Knit Pearl Hunter and she tells you what to search for and all that kind of fun jazz. And she's got the really clear cut directional videos, which is just awesome. And you know, she goes, if you miss a yarn over, there's a video on how to go back and actually pick up the yarn over as long as it's not 4 or 5 rows below where you need to go. I'm pretty sure I missed a yarn over in here somewhere towards the bottom. However, I want to put the right number of stitches in each section at the end, and I can't seem to locate it. I mean, I'll keep looking for it, but I can't seem to locate it. And so that's why, you know, you kind of lose track, because when it's unblocked, you guys can see it's kind of crinkly. Like, it's not, at least mine's kind of crinkly. It's not nice and pulled. And so when I open it up for you, the pattern comes out so much better. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So myself, if you guys are any lace pattern I found, and this, I've known this for a while, lace is so easy to make a mistake. And it's not necessarily like a cable or something like that where you can kind of drop your stitches back and go back and forth and redo them. Oh, there's a little hummingbird up there. Huh. So pretty. So cute. Alright, I'll stop looking at the hummingbird, guys. Lace, if you screw something up, you can't always go back and fix it. You can't just drop stitches and pick them up again, unless you're really good. So, the use of lifelines. You guys can see my lifelines are green in here. I have got lifeline after lifeline after lifeline in here. I used this like rainbow colored, and by the way, this rainbow colored yarn is Huasco, and I love Huasco, by the way. Huasco by Herculia? I don't actually know who it's by, but it's Huasco. I love it. It's left over from another project, and it had enough stitches that I didn't have to worry about it. But right after I put that in, she does say put in a lifeline, so at least when you rip it off, your stitches are still live. Awesome. I also then went ahead and I put in, after I knit each row, after I knit each section, I went ahead and I put in another lifeline. So at any given time, I'll most likely have 3 lifelines in my project at one time, so that I know where I can rip back to in case I really need to rip back to. Seeing as it is the beginning of February, I can actually do it in the next side. Haha! So I'm so excited. I want to do the next block so bad. It was very, very hard for me to sit and stop after the first block. So I'm so used to patterns where, and projects, since you guys know, I don't stop and work on multiple at one time and put one down and come back to it and all that kind of fun jazz. So this was very, very hard for me to set it aside for a while. So yeah, I'm so excited it's February so I can work on my next block. And I will definitely bring that back to you. So this is where I'm at, and it's edged on each side and top and bottom with a garter stitch border to separate your blocks. So that's where I got through that second garter stitch border. So I am ready for the next pattern, and I'm so looking forward to it. I really like this pattern. It's really pretty. I'm liking my yarn. I'm loving my yarn. It is not the easiest to work with. I will tell you guys that. I'm pretty sure the Haiku Rileys would be a little bit easier to work with. It probably wouldn't split quite so bad. Putting this back in my project bag. Because it's got a slightly tighter weave than this does, or twist. I'm sorry, not weave, twist. So it's got a slightly tighter twist to it than this yarn does. So probably isn't being split as much. I would definitely say lifelines are 100% necessary. And I would also say lots of stitch markers. That first section was broken down into subsets of stitches of 8. So it was 8 plus 1 by the time we got done. And there was like 14 of them by the time I got done. So you need a lot of stitch markers. And I, you know, whichever ones are your favorite, there's no right or wrong to that. But, okay, there might be, I don't know. Just make sure they're not too big for your yarn that you're using. But So lots and lots of stitches. So that's the first one I'm working on. And because I had nothing to knit for like 2 days, because I finished all my washcloths and all that kind of fun jobs, I went ahead and I started another pattern. I'm sorry, guys. And this one is called Rick and Rack Scarf by Pearl Soho. Now, as I said, there is some yarn that's in my stash that I wanted to get rid of. And I wanted to reduce my stash by about 5%. I'm really hoping it's going to be more than 5%. So this is my goal to do that. And along with that, I was like, you know what? I might as well help make something for charity, but I didn't want to do something boring and all that kind of fun jazz. So this is the Rick and Rack Scarf by Pearl Soho. That's the right side. This is the wrong side. And I will tell you, it is curling a little bit down here at the ends. I worked on this for a grand total of yesterday. And it literally twists your stitches. Out of 46 stitches that the pattern calls for, you twist 15 times. And you don't just twist on the right side, you also twist on the wrong side. So if you want a project to slow you down just a little bit, so you're not going through gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of yarn, like I do 9 times out of 10, because I sit and knit every night when I watch TV, this is the pattern for you. You're twisting literally the right side and the wrong side 15 times. I am using the yarn I'm using. Haha. It kind of looks like this. You guys can actually see it better in here. I've gone through one full round of it. I did not know there was blue or this purpley color in this yarn when I originally bought it. I'm like, hey, there's blue. There's purple. Good to know. And I did get a little bit tight in here. You guys can tell I got a little bit tight in there, and I got a little bit tight down here too. I will loosen that back up. But I didn't know it had these blue and this purple stripe in here. I had no idea. I just went on Ravelry and I had it in my stash on there. And so I went in and I was like, okay, what has anybody else made with it? And I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cute scarf. I liked the way it turned out for her. So, or whoever made it. I don't actually know who made it, that I was using it. But it's on Pearl Soho. It's Rick and Rack Scarf. It's turned out really great. And I'm using Isaac Mizrahi craft yarn. I got it at Michael's, amazingly enough. Got it at Michael's a couple of years ago. I know they still carry the Isaac Mizrahi line. No, JD. Hi. He kind of likes this scarf. He thinks it's fuzzy. So, and it's the colorway Skyscraper. So it's Skyscraper colorway from Isaac Mizrahi. So I thought it was really pretty. And it's kind of slowing me down a little bit. I'm not quite going through as many projects. So, and I don't mind putting... Can you get down? Hello. Thank you. The twist isn't bad on it. You know, it's just very fuzzy. Just to let you guys know, it's kind of fuzzy. It's a bulky yarn. So, but it'll make a cute scarf. I don't know if I'm going to give it to a friend or charity or what, but I thought, hey, might as well do something new, kind of fun pattern. I'm liking the way it's turning out. And I don't mind if I have to put it down, as I said, while I work on my other one. So I'm kind of excited. I do want to go back and work on my lace project again. Hopefully tonight. We'll see. So that is my other work in progress. I'm actually going to slide it back here into my bag. And once you guys get the pattern established, it's really easy to follow. You don't have to keep looking at a pattern. It's a great mindless knit, I think, in my mind. With this bulky yarn, because I knit so tight, I may have actually considered going up one more needle size. Just because I knit so tight. Most people don't. If gauge calls for like a 6, I automatically go up to a 7, no matter which hand I'm using, because both hands are tight. So keep that in mind. And if I write anything for myself, or I'm giving anybody instructions, they're like, okay, well, what size needle? And I say, well, I did a 7, you're going to want to do a 6. You're going to get about the same gauge if you do a 6 as I do a 7. So I have a tendency to say that because most people are actually more on gauge than I am. Okay, all that's done. You guys are probably asking, why in the world did I start a scarf? So this kind of goes into my prenatal stuff. I have not found the perfect basket yet. I have a basket pattern. It turns out it's a little bit too small, and I'm not sure how big I'm going to need to make it. I mean, I want it to fit dog toys, so I don't want to make something that's going to require a lot of effort, I guess, or a lot of, intricate needlework and all that kind of stuff, because the dog toys are going to be put in there. So I'm still looking for a good basket pattern. So if anybody still has one, you guys want to shoot it over to me, you guys want to tell me what the name is so I can go look it up myself. Actually, that'd be the easiest way. You guys want to tell me what the name is so I can go look it up myself. I would love to see a basket pattern. It needs to be kind of large or larger. I mean, it doesn't mean huge, but kind of larger. Between my dog, you guys see JD all the time, but we also have my other dogs that come over, and when my friends come over and things like that we see frequently, and there's a lot of dog toys in my house. tons and tons of dog toys in my house. So I am still looking for that. So I haven't found the perfect pattern yet, but I am still looking for it. I'm also considering, after doing this month's portion of the lace project, doing a tee or another top, like kind of like this one, maybe a little bit different. Maybe it's got a little bit of design to it. So I was looking around. I have more of this jean yarn. By the way, really nice. It feels really nice against my skin. I like it a lot. I haven't blocked it yet. I didn't realize that until this morning. Well, this afternoon after I put it on. Whoops. But I really like my top. But I haven't blocked it yet. So it's the only downfall to this, and I didn't realize that, but that's okay. But I have a lot of this jean yarn, and I've got like a sweater or a top worth of yarn in either bamboo or this wool silk blend that I've got, and I've got almost a top's worth in a different colorway of Huasco than that multicolor that you saw. So I was looking around and I'm like, okay, what is it that I want to do? Is there a top pattern out there that I really like? And is there one out there that I can use the yarn I already have? Again, it's all part of my stash goals to get rid of a large portion of my stash this year, or at least 5%. I'm not quite as good as trying to get rid of all my stash. I'm not that good. So we'll see what happens. But I came up with what I would like is the Driftwood Tee by Mercedes Tresovich. I'm so sorry if I'm messing up your name. Look on the screen, because wow, am I going to mess that up. We're going to call her Mercedes because I can't pronounce her last name. I'm really sorry. And I'm probably going to make it out of the 100% bamboo yarn that I have. And I'll kind of, once I get this top started, it's probably going to take me a week or so. I'm going to show it to you guys. But I have 100% bamboo yarn, which is this bright, vibrant blue color. And I love blue. Me and blue, we're friends. So I'm going to try that too. So I have got a lace project going as well as a regular just like top project going. And this Driftwood Tee, on the very edges, the sides of the shirt, like where you would have a seam, there actually still might be a seam in there. I actually don't know. I haven't read the pattern yet. I haven't even bought the pattern yet. There's a little bit of, there's like a triangle out of it that's got a little bit of yarn overs and knit two together. So you got like eyelets in there. So I thought that would be like a really nice little extra, woohoo, little detail, along with a fairly basic top, which I kind of like. I'm somebody that's more of a basic structural kind of a person, and it looks really nice. So we're gonna give that a shot, I think. If you guys have any other really suggestions for a really great tee, I would love it. I'm looking for like a little polo, like a throwover cardigan, nothing with buttons. I don't do buttons. Squirrel Pie Productions, she just finished one. Dynamite from Squirrel Pie Productions. My dog's over here going, give me the ball. She finished a sweater recently. Just like a pull-on cardigan sweater that had pockets in it. And I was like, ooh, I really like that. So I'm thinking about trying that one too. But I want to kind of use up some of the yarn. I don't have the right weight yarn and the right yardage, I guess is going to be the word, for hers. So I'm going to try this one first and maybe another one. But I'm looking for just like a lightweight pull-on cardigan with pockets in it. I love pockets. I don't know why. I've also never knitted pockets, so I guess that's part of the reason why I want to try pockets. I've never knitted pockets. It'll be a challenge. I'm gonna like it, I think. I think I'm gonna like it a lot. So there's that. I don't really have anything else for today, guys. I'm really excited about my latest project, and I'm kind of excited about a couple of the things that are coming up, I guess. I would love to hear what you guys are excited about. So what is your current project that you're working on? Leave me a comment in the comment boxes, or go ahead and send me a message on Ravelry. I would love to friend you. And again, find me on Ravelry anytime, any place. I am Crazy Desert Knitter on Ravelry, and so I'm starting to get that going. Woohoo. We don't have a group yet. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't have a group yet. But go ahead and let me know what you guys are working on, or what you guys want to work on. And, you know, I always love what's that next project that's coming down the pipeline that you guys are really loving. So, you know, that kind of stuff. So, in the meantime, I'm going to say have some fun, enjoy your knitting, and above all else, just keep knitting, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.